and welcome to another edition of Problematic Women, a show that showcases strong conservative women, current events, and the hypocrisy of the so-called feminist left. Joining me today is Bree Payton, a writer over at The Federalist, and also a frequent contributor to Bright, a morning email for women by women. Bree, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me.
Now, before we get into our segments today, I want to address you actually were a problematic woman this week.
I was.
You came under some tweet attacks from these feminists on Twitter. What happened?
Okay, so Caitlyn Jenner said that he really loves the song Dude Looks Like a Lady, which is about a stripper who is actually looks like a woman but is actually a man, right? So this is problematic amongst trans advocates who think that this is transphobic. Of course, Jenner identifies as trans himself. So anyway, a lot of individuals in the trans movement said, you know, that this was problematic, that he was being transphobic by liking this song. I wrote a piece just pointing out the ridiculousness of this, saying, okay, why can't he appreciate this song? Why is he not representative of the trans movement when he himself identifies as trans? And then a trans advocate person came after me on Instagram, actually.
On your private Instagram?
Yes, on my private Instagram, because this person was upset that I referred to Jenner as a he in my piece. So my question is, so yesterday, Jenner is not a member of the trans movement, not a trans person, doesn't represent the trans community, isn't allowed in this club, right? But then the next day, all of a sudden, I'm being attacked for calling him a he. So, I mean, which is it, right?
That's what happens when you're a problematic woman. You can never get it right. So we have lots to cover today. Our first segment is called That Happened, where we talk about some of the more ridiculous news stories that happened this week. Our second segment is a commentary from our own problematic woman here at the Daily Signal, Genevieve Wood, on some craziness regarding abortion out in Oregon. Our third segment is Real or Fake News, where we have Bree guess whether the headlines are real or fake. And last, as always, we will be crowning our most problematic women of the week. So first off, that happened. Another week, another crazy Linda Sarsour statement. You covered this over at The Federalist. What happened?
So in celebration of the 6-month anniversary of the Women's March, which happened just a couple blocks from here in protest of Donald Trump's inauguration, they tweeted out a tweet venerating Assata Shakir, who killed a police officer in the line of duty in 1977, and she later escaped from prison in 1979 and fled to Cuba several years later. She was the first woman to be named on the FBI's most wanted list, and the FBI is still offering a $1 million reward for information leading to her arrest. So she's a cop killer, runaway fugitive. So why is the Women's March venerating this individual? That's a question Jake Tapper had, and he tweeted about it, being like, why are you guys venerating this woman? Can you please explain this? And then Linda Sarsour went after him and called him a member of the alt-right because he was criticizing something that they were doing. And I mean, this is typical of leftists, you know, whenever you try to push back on something that they're doing, whenever you have a question about something that's interesting or strange, a decision that they've made, they like to name call instead of attacking the issue, right? Instead of saying, actually, this woman, you know, did XYZ to help us, blah, blah, blah. She went out and called him an alt-right troll, which just proves that, you know, there really isn't a reason for them to be venerating her, and she doesn't have a substantive response to that attack.
Well, if Jake Tapper is a member of the alt-right, I only wonder where that leaves us, who have been highly critical of the whole Women's March and the entire platform that they claim to stand on. So I'm not sure where that leaves us off. But Jake Tapper, good luck to you. I heard Linda Sarsour is keeping a list of those who are speaking critical against her. So watch out. I think all of us are probably on that list by now. All right, well, whether you are 3 months pregnant or just weeks away from giving birth, you can now get an abortion, compliments of Oregon taxpayers. Watch to learn more.
The demand for abortion in Oregon is going down. So why do pro-abortion lawmakers there seem so determined to increase it? From 2011 to 2014, Oregon saw a 15% decline in the number of abortions. It also saw a 7% decline in the number of abortion providers. But apparently that isn't a trend line pro-abortion politicians want to see continue. When it comes to restrictions on abortion, Oregon already has very few. It has no parental consent or even parental notification laws. There are no mandated counseling or waiting periods for women seeking abortions. There are no additional regulations on facilities performing abortions to increase safety or ambulance-ready requirements. And unlike 43 other states that restrict abortion after either 20 weeks or after an unborn child can live outside the womb, Oregon law allows abortions up until the moment of birth. As a matter of fact, the only restriction on abortion in Oregon is that it isn't free for everyone. So state lawmakers recently passed legislation to ensure that it is. Called the Reproductive Health Equity Act, the bill ensures that all Oregonians, regardless of their income, citizenship status, gender identity, or type of insurance, receive the full spectrum of reproductive health services at zero out-of-pocket cost. Of course, reproductive health services is code language for abortion, and zero out-of-pocket cost means Oregon taxpayers, regardless of their personal views, will be paying for more abortions. Oregon already allocates $2 million of state Medicaid funds for abortions. This new bill would tack on another $10 million. But this time, they are taking it a step further by forcing all insurance plans, exempting only a handful of religious charities, to cover abortions for any reason, free of cost, to anyone in the state. So whether you are a citizen or non-citizen, rich or poor, whether you were 3 months pregnant or just weeks away from giving birth, and for whatever reason, including the fact you wanted a boy instead of a girl, you can now get an abortion, compliments of Oregon taxpayers. It's no coincidence that those lobbying for the bill just happen to be the very entities that will profit from it. Dropping abortion rates means dropping profits for groups like Planned Parenthood, who helped draft the legislation. And just like at the federal level, they now want taxpayers to bail them out. But there is a way to stop it. If opponents can collect the signatures of 58,789 registered voters between now and October 5th, they can force the bill to be put on the 2018 ballot, allowing the people of Oregon, not pro-abortion special interests, to have the final say.
So Bree, one of the most ridiculous things I took away from watching this video and hearing about this story is that you can now be an illegal immigrant in Oregon and get a taxpayer-funded abortion up until days before you give birth.
Yeah, I know. It's completely ridiculous. And, nationwide, most women agree that abortion should be restricted to the first trimester. This is overwhelmingly something that American women in particular think should be restricted. So, the fact of the matter is that Oregon's abortion laws are very extreme in that it lets a woman get an abortion, up to a day before they go into labor.
That baby is alive.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You're exactly right. This is a fully formed human. And also, in this Oregon story, we are talking about the state's Medicaid program, which is funded and propped up by federal dollars, right? So we have a situation where federal tax dollars are potentially funding abortions in Oregon, right? And that's a very clear-cut violation of the Hyde Amendment, which federally stipulates that taxpayer dollars cannot fund abortions.
And the Hyde Amendment used to be something that both Republicans and Democrats could agree on, but now we saw the Democrat platform call for repealing the Hyde Amendment. So clearly they are quickly trying to expand abortion laws in the United States. Moving on to one of our favorite segments, real or fake news. Fake news is very popular these days. So we're going to read headlines to Bree, and she's going to guess whether they are real or fake. And feel free to play along, leaving real or fake news in the comments here. All right, first headline, nearly a quarter of liberals can't stand to be around Trump supporters. Real or fake news?
I'm going to say fake because I think that figure is actually half.
You're smart, problematic woman. That is right, fake. It is half, which just shows you how divided our country is. Next headline, Minnesota schools adopt transgender toolkit for kindergartners. Real or fake?
That's completely true.
So
yeah.
that is real, and this is actually an issue I was covering a year ago in private schools, and now to see it expand to public schools and kindergartners who are just learning how to tie their shoes is crazy that we're introducing these really sensitive and complex issues that us adults have a hard time dealing with and discussing civilly, and we expect kindergartners to be able to handle them.
Well, also, I think it's an issue of violation of the First Amendment. I think it's very clear that, you know, in the vacuum of traditional Orthodox religions, this is a religion that the left has decided to adopt. And I think that when they are trying to impose this, you know, theological political correctness curriculum, I think that that could potentially be a First Amendment violation.
Yes, because heaven forbid you call someone by the wrong pronoun and you could get in trouble for it. That's an interesting take, though. Our next headline, Bill Nye, older people need to die out before climate science can advance.
I think he did actually say that, which is
what
insane.
Hasn't he said?
I know. What hasn't he said?
Yeah, I know this is something that actually I've spoken with you about. A lot of climate change activists have been calling for women to have fewer babies in order to stabilize the climate.
They want us all dead. That's really the mission of climate change alarmists. They want us all to just die.
All right, well, for our last segment of the day, we have to crown our problematic women of the week. This was supposed to be an international version, but on Friday, we had a big news story break, so we'll be getting to that. But first, the first problematic woman of the week is a 5-year-old girl who was fined 150 euros for having a lemonade stand. This happened in the UK, I believe, and she was with her father selling lemonade at an event, and authorities came over to her and her father, and apparently she just had a breakdown and was kind of traumatized and felt really guilty for this. What's your take?
Yeah, I mean, I myself am a lemonade entrepreneur. One time I broke my mom's earring, and she was so furious at me. She was like, you need to raise the funds in order to pay the jeweler to fix this, and you need to do it via a lemonade stand. So my dad went with me to the park, and I was like 5, so I was probably the same age as this girl. And I actually loved it, and it taught me that I'm really good at selling things. When I was in Girl Scouts, I was like the best cookie salesman in my troop. And later on, you know, it taught me how to be able to talk to strangers, which is something that we have to do every day for our jobs.
Yes, and it also teaches you the value of $1, which seems to be a lesson that is lost more and more with these newbie generations. So our next problematic woman of the week, this was one of my favorites. I was tweeting all about this week. There was a model who was arrested in Saudi Arabia for wearing a skirt in public in a viral clip. I believe she posted it on Snapchat. And of course, in Saudi Arabia, women are not allowed to wear outfits like this. They have to be fully covered. And she posted it and got arrested. I haven't heard what the status of her arrest is, but this is an issue where I think it's really interesting to compare, you know, American feminism to what I believe you and I see as feminism internationally. How can we really make a difference for women? And it's looking at countries like Saudi Arabia, which don't allow women to post clips like this when they're just wearing a skirt and a top.
Right. Women are actually also not allowed to drive. And they're also not allowed to go anywhere in public without a male guardian watching over them. A woman was recently jailed for, I think, something like 72 days because she decided to drive. And she was denied access to, she was actually detained again in June. And I don't think she's been able to even speak to an attorney. Amnesty International said that, you know, she wasn't able to talk to any legal counsel. She wasn't being informed of when her trial date was, when anything was happening. She was just kind of being held indefinitely. Right. And this is what a lot of other countries do to women is they'll just jail you if they don't like that you're driving or walking around by yourself and don't let you have a right to legal counsel.
Well, I would love all the problematic women out there to help us bring attention to this story, because I do think it is injustice that she is facing, and I hope she's okay, because we don't really know the status of her right now. Our third problematic women of the week is a DC-centric story here. Sarah Huckabee Sanders was promoted to be the new White House press secretary. In addition, Sean Spicer stepped down, and there's a new White House communications director as well. What are your thoughts on Sarah Huckabee Sanders? She's certainly, I'd say, falls in the category of a problematic woman.
Yes, she does. She does. I think she's definitely a big upgrade from Sean Spicer, who liked to just repeatedly say crazy things when he was talking and taking questions from reporters. So I think she's definitely a lot more composed, and I think she's a lot more poised than her predecessor. So I think this is a drastic improvement on behalf of the White House.
Well, congratulations to Sarah Huckabee Sanders. We wish you the best. That wraps up our Problematic Women of the Week edition. Bree, thank you so much for joining in. For everyone who wants to follow your work, how can they do so?
Sure. So you can follow me on Twitter at Bree_Payton. And as always, you can go read my work at thefederalist.com.
Yes, and I will point out that Bree is a regular contributor over on Fox News and Fox Business, so you might see her there. Well, thank you all for joining in. Please tweet us any feedback using the hashtag #ProblematicWoman. If you know a problematic woman out there, someone who we should crown Problematic Woman of the Week, please let us know. We want to know, and we'd love to hear your feedback in general about this show. Because it's Sunday, we want to have a little bit of fun. We're going to leave you with one last clip, but for the Daily Signal, thank you for watching. My name is Kelsey Harkness.
I don't follow rules. I follow dogs on social media. Feeling really good about myself tonight, so I'm just gonna have some water, refreshing. Oh no, I missed my mouth. It's me, Charlene. Raise your hands. I'm sorry I was 8 hours late for brunch yesterday. I forgot. Well, I'm speechless. I've been so busy today. Yeah, I've been really busy. It's just 3 hours of doing work. 3 hours of looking at baby guns. You know, I get my look, my routine. I roll out of bed and show up. Looking flawless like my dreams. Girl, I don't want to miss. That's what I live for. Sorry it took me 3 years to respond back to your text because I don't really understand technology. And I'm sorry for the divorce.